GMGP, good morning, good people. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all decided to wake up with us. You're sick. You're sick in the head. There's a lot of fantasy football shows out there, but I promise y'all, they not like us. Brock Bowers, you looked a little quicker than fast. What does that even mean? Redraft, Dynasty, best ball, high stakes, we got you covered.
And that's MVS and Justin Watson.
With some of the dopest tools designed to help you cancel out the noise and dominate your leagues.
If there's a white wide receiver named Antoine, sign me up.
Maybe it's cultural. I don't know. In season or off season, rain, sleet, hail, and snow,
comma, semicolon, period, next sentence.
to bring you the most actionable and entertaining content on YouTube. You don't go buy the dip on the Titanic.
Quarterback that you love, D-Bro. One of the best values in fantasy football.
Prop bets with my man Jay Rich.
Yes! Let's go!
So wipe the crust out of your eye, get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake y'all asses up with Ray
And Jay.
in the morning.
My God.
How good is
Dude.
he? How good is he? Let's get it, GMGP. It is Monday, August 11th, 2025. Y'all decided to wake y'all asses up with myself and my dog, my brother from another mother. Y'all know who it is, Jordan Richard. You can find him at your boy Jay Rich. Wake up with Ray and Jay every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right here on the channel. If you're watching for the free zone, as everybody is, do one thing, hit that thumbs up button, like the content, subscribe to the channel. We got a lot of dope shit dropping, especially now that we're in football season and the people are in the building this Monday. What we got rolling with Johnny? What's poppin', Johnny? GMGP to you, big dog. Jimbo, damn, big under. For those of y'all that don't know, they take bets on when we'll start the show. We're on time, baby. Every time we're on time. We got MV Prof in the building. Royce Taylor. We got the soap operas in the background. Jay Rich, I got to switch. I got to update the TV back there, man. Smitty Satu in the building. Patrick Price. Ricky One. Kyle Monangai, truth or stand up.
Ooh.
Jay, they tried to slander me on Yahoo, man. I told people Kyle Monangai was going to be all right. They laughed at OGQ, Jay Rich. They laughed at me. Looked pretty damn good yesterday for the Chicago Bears. We got Matt Jones in the building, Dro, Daniel Fisher, Saint Seth. I saw my girl Joe, Ty Claire in the All Gas Trade Show in the building. Let's go, man. Yeah, I'm excited. Football is back. Preseason week 1 in the book, so we got a lot to talk about. But housekeeping, in case you missed any of the dope content that we put out over here or on our other channel, DDFFB, make sure you pull up. Ty Claire was on with Brandon for the Dynasty mailbag, answering all of your burning Dynasty questions. You know, coming into preseason week 1, going out of preseason week 1. So make sure you pull up DDFFB for the Dynasty mailbag show. Brandon does a phenomenal job with this piece on the mailbag. And then, as we kind of mentioned too, All Gas Trade Show. Myself, I was a guest with Ty and Gabe. Fact or fiction, there were a lot of good trades, a lot of interesting trades in the Dynasty streets over the weekend, Jay Rich. So make sure on DDFFB you check out the All Gas Trade Show. And you know, you got to trust it. Trust the Trinity. I went through Xavier Worthy, Keenan Allen, and Tyler Warren, their projected usage and what it may look like for us in fantasy football using the best damn usage tool in the game. Trust it. Trust that Trinity. And then last night, if you are a member on DDFFB, you got to listen to Scott Connor and myself talk about some preseason takeaways from a Dynasty perspective. We spent a lot of time looking at the quarterbacks, talking about Dart, talking about Shedeur, Cam Ward, even your boy, Mr. Finger Bang himself, Tyler Shough. If you are not a member of DDFFB, I think this drops tomorrow. So make sure you are paying attention. When's it drop?
Friday.
Well, we're going to move it up because it's all shit that happened in week 1. So we'll drop it earlier. So just schedule changes you didn't know about, Jay Rich. But that's the content. If you missed it, check it out. Subscribe to the channel over there. Mr. Richards, how are you doing this morning, my friend?
Oh, Ray, it's a great day. It's a great day, my friend. I'm sure you saw it. Treyveon Henderson, man. I tried to tell the people. I tried to tell the people. I understand the concerns.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we all liked Treyveon Henderson. We all liked him.
Some people called me crazy. They said,
I don't think anybody called you crazy.
But Jay Rich, how could you take Treyveon Henderson over Omarion Hampton? He plays for the Chargers. He's a first-round running back. Do you remember that?
I really don't think anybody was fading Treyveon Henderson, but yes, pop off, Jay Rich.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. We're back, Ray.
We are back. We are back.
Housekeeping
Housekeeping was good. Make sure you check out all the content. we did have some injury news, Jay Rich, that we have to talk about, some injury news.
Yep.
So let's start it off with some big news, literally and figuratively, out of Philadelphia. Landon Dickerson, Jay Rich, Pro Bowl guard, 3-time All-Pro guard, suffered an injury yesterday at practice, exited on a cart. He's going to undergo an MRI on his knee. We don't know what it is right now, but MRI, knee, cart, Landon Dickerson, one of the best offensive lines in football. We are hoping for good news from a fantasy perspective because we want big rushing lanes for Saquon Barkley. We want Jalen Hurts to be able to do his thing. Landon Dickerson goes down. How big of a loss do you think this is for Philadelphia?
I mean, it's a big loss in general, right? He's like one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL. It's not suspected to be an ACL, but David Chow did said that, the video was grainy. He's not 100% sure. It's not easy to tell, but if it came back an ACL, he wouldn't be surprised at all. So we just hope for the best for him. But this is also one of the deepest offensive lines in football as well. It's one of the best. So if there was a team that could absorb something like this, it's probably the Philadelphia Eagles. But we'll see, right? It's a big loss. Anytime you lose one of your best offensive linemen, it's a big loss. You just hope they have the depth, they have the talent, they can overcome it. But for Philly, that is so predicated on their offensive line that it really showcases their dominance on a week-to-week basis. Maybe it is a bigger loss than for some other teams, but they do have the offensive line depth, and hopefully Jalen Hurts is ready to navigate an injury like this, and they'll be just fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big loss. It's a big loss, right? Landon Dickerson, one of the best at his position in the NFL. Anytime you pull a mainstay, a 3-time All-Pro, Pro Bowl player off of your offensive front, you're going to have to adjust. But they do have, they are equipped. I trust Philadelphia that they'll be able to figure it out. And maybe the MRI comes back today clean and it's not significant and he only misses a few weeks and he's out of action and he'll be back sooner rather than later. But the news of him being on the cart, his position on this team was kind of tough to listen to. We've got some offensive line injuries kind of all over the place. Tyler Guyton, left tackle in Dallas. Tristan Wirfs, left tackle in Tampa Bay. We all know what happened with Rashawn Slater last week. So another offensive lineman sort of bites the dust right now, but there's still some, potential for good news. So you just keep your fingers crossed if you're a Landon Dickerson fan that things come back clean and clear. Okay, we also saw a player in a walking boot that we did not know was injured. I just didn't think he was playing. I didn't think he was that damn hurt. But in Green Bay, Jaden Reed, Jay Rich, a lot of people love them some Jaden Reed. And during the preseason game versus the Jets, he was spotted in a walking boot on his left foot, and then the reports coming out of Green Bay are he potentially may not be ready for week 1 of the NFL season. Thoughts on Jaden Reed, the injury, and the fact that he's still only a slot receiver, not playing in 2 wide receiver sets on the outside?
Yeah, I mean, this is a big concern, right? If you were hoping for something from Jaden Reed this season, a level up, maybe more development in the offense, maybe Matthew Golden freeing up some space for him, it just seems a little bit less likely now, right? Especially early on. And this isn't, a random report. This is head coach Matt LaFleur at the podium saying, man, I don't know if this guy's going to be ready for week 1. And that's concerning. It honestly basically, Ray, reminds me of Joe Mixon. Like Joe Mixon is in a very similar situation. He's been in the walking boot for a while. We kind of found out a little bit later. And then it's like, well, is he going to be ready? We're not sure. And all indications are we don't know the timetable for return. And when the head coach comes out and says, look, this guy is still dealing with a foot injury. He's in a boot. We don't know when he's going to be back. It's a problem, right? And we don't know what that timetable for return looks like. But if you're looking on the other side of it, it really does seem like Matthew Golden is the wide receiver 1 in Green Bay. It seems like he's the guy, and everything else is going to run through him. And whatever else happens for the other receivers, they're going to have to earn on their own. But it seems like they're going to make every indication that Matthew Golden is going to be the number 1 and be the main target in that offense. It's probably not going to be Reed. It's not going to be Watson. He's still dealing from injury. It's probably not going to be Dobbs. And we'll see what happens with Tucker Kraft because I know that everyone's very excited about him. And there's a lot of promising signs he's going to have a big role in this team. But how do you feel about Jaden Reed knowing that he's probably going to start the season very slow because of the injury, and you may not get the real Jaden Reed that we see this season until maybe the second half or even, maybe a month into the season?
Jay Rich, I just want to let you know the people have said, as you are victory lapping, and I just checking the notes here, Treyveon Henderson, that you actually said Hampton over Henderson not even 72 hours ago. Jordan Richards, I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you a chance to admit. I'm going to.
Can we add some context here? Can we allow the people's champion Jay Rich some context?
Oh, now you're the people's champ. I thought I was the people's champ. Go ahead.
What makes you think you're the people's champ?
Because I like. Go ahead.
We will get there, but he hadn't played yet. He hadn't returned that kickoff for a touchdown. So, come on, guys. Just, we'll get there. We'll get there.
I was going to let you say we're going to get there, but I'm just letting you know that you did say Hampton over Treyveon Henderson 72 hours ago, Jay Rich, but
I know what I said.
We'll give you a chance to amend that here shortly. Matthew Stafford set to practice today, Jay Rich. They said he threw 60 balls during the workout in the preseason game, prior to the preseason game versus the Cowboys. Looked good, expected to be on the field with the Los Angeles Rams today. Jay Rich, so some positive injury news from the Matthew Stafford front. Stetson Bennett was the quarterback who played versus the Dallas Cowboys and looked all right. Stetson Bennett looked all right out there, but Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed, Golden was out there, and the Jets had their ones. The Jets had Sauce Gardner out there, and Matthew Golden had struggling. He had one target, one catch, 7 yards. He did catch that pass on Sauce Gardner, but I think Golden is, we talked about him a couple of months ago. I think he's a little underrated. He's one of those guys that could be out there, and Jordan Love needs some help because he didn't look very good either. Malik Heath dropping passes. The offense was stagnant with him. They're probably going to get some extended run in the second game, but Matthew Golden is probably going to be put in a position to where he's going to have to play early and often, and all we're chasing is some opportunities, a talented player, first-round pick. So I like the potential outcome for Matthew Golden in that offense. Reed, he's a slot-only receiver. That's how they've deployed him the past couple of years. I don't think anything is going to change. They're not going to stick him on the outside. They're not going to ask him to do other things. He's just going to do what he's always done and be fine and not – there's nothing elite there. He'll have a couple of spike weeks, but that's what Jaden Reed is. Rachaad White, groin injury. Jay Rich, Rachaad White injured himself in the first preseason game, and I think it's reported he's going to miss. Yeah, I think he's going to miss a couple of weeks. It says 2 to 4 weeks, I believe, was the range for Rachaad White. So, where's Joe at in the chat? Joe, you weren't wrong, Joe. You were just 2.5 years way too early with Sean Tucker. Jay Rich, so talk about this injury for Rachaad White, and then Todd Bowles coming out saying, hey, we got to get this dude the ball more. We need to get Sean Tucker more touches in our backfield. So talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, Tucker, if you've watched his limited experience, he's probably one of the best RB3s in all of football because every time he touches the ball, you see the explosion, you see the power, you see his ability to break tackles and run up the middle. I think it'll be interesting to see what this team does because Rachaad White, I think, profiles more like Bucky Irving than he does more like Sean Tucker. And so it's depending on how they want to run this offense. We know that Bucky's going to be heavily involved in this rushing attack, but I think there could be plenty of opportunities for Tucker as well. And should that happen, is there a world where Rachaad White can get back on the field with this team in this rotation? Because I think that Tucker just provides something that White absolutely doesn't, and Bucky can fill in all the ways that Rachaad White exceeds. The really only question is pass pro, right? Can Bucky and Tucker handle pass pro at an elite enough level to where at that point Rachaad White is redundant? Because I think both those guys are much better rushers. White is a great pass catcher and a great outlet for Baker Mayfield and going to be the primary pass protector as well. But Tucker getting more opportunities is great for everyone involved. I think it only adds to the upside of this offense. And I hope he can get, somewhere in the range of 7 to 8 carries a game, because I think you could probably see him rip off a couple big runs throughout the season.
He's explosive. And as good as Bucky Irving was last year, you don't want him to become this 90% touch guy. I don't think he's built that way. He's an efficiency guy. You hear Alvin Kamara talk about, hey, I want somebody else in the backfield with me to take some of that pounding off of me. That way I can continue to be efficient, do that pass catching work. You see Bucky Irving in the joint practices getting downfield receiving work. We know he can catch the ball. I think they'll be just fine with Sean Tucker, to be honest with you. Yeah. Rachaad White, very good on third downs, a very good receiving back, but he doesn't have a tenth of the juice that Sean Tucker has. And for those people who may not remember why he went undrafted, he was viewed as one of the better running backs of his draft class, but the heart condition that was discovered during that pre-draft process coming out of Syracuse just caused a lot of teams to stay away. They didn't want to touch him. They didn't know how things were going to happen. Even Sean Tucker didn't know how his career was going to play out, but he's back on the field. I think this is year 3 for Sean Tucker. So again, Joe, my girl, you weren't wrong. You were just a little bit too early. She was a big Sean Tucker fan back in the day. So excited to see him get some more opportunity, Jay Rich. Another injury, and it sucks because you and I both really like this player, man, and it always seems like there's something going on. Tyjae Spears, another injury. Looks like a high ankle sprain for Tyjae Spears. So Tony Pollard and then Khalil Mullings.
Is that going to be the fourth stringer for Tennessee? Or the third stringer? I mean, it's going to be the Pollard show once again, right? I think we fully expected to be Pollard. It was Pollard last season when Tyjae Spears was hurt. This is just kind of what keeps happening, and it's very unfortunate because we've seen the talent when he is available. I believe he was he was like a top 5 running back at the end of the season in the last few weeks of the year when he was the only show in town. But it's going to be Pollard once again, and it's unfortunate because his own head coach said, like, we need to get him on the field. Like, I'd love to have him on the field. I don't want to give Pollard 20, 25 carries a game, but if he's not going to be on the field, then there's nothing you can do. So this puts him at about a month. Hopefully he's back for week 1. But again, it's probably going to be in a limited capacity because of that high ankle sprain. So if you are looking to potentially use Tyjae Spears for fantasy purposes, like, it'll probably be about a month till he's actually available and fully healthy. You got Julius Chestnut as the second or the third stringer and Khalil Mullings as the fourth stringer. So good thing for us, it is obviously preseason. Those two will probably battle it out for that next spot, and maybe we can make some decisions once we kind of see them play a little bit more. But yeah, Tyjae Spears' preseason is over, and we'll see what happens come week 1.
Tough, man. Tough stuff for Spears. Hopefully he gets better. High ankle sprain for a running back whose game is on that quick twitch, stop, start. Yep. Hopefully he gets it together and he can be useful for us down the stretch for fantasy football, Jay. And then the final, at least big piece of injury news. If I missed anything, let us know in the chat. But just want to give shout out, prayers, well wishes to Detroit Lions defensive back Maurice Norris, who suffered a very, very scary injury in that preseason game versus the Falcons. We're not going to show the clip, but all reports are he's doing much better after the game. I believe he's got movement in all extremities. He's aware, he's awake, he's good to go. But a very scary injury that actually forced that game to stop. They stopped that game. I think they ran one more snap, and then they called it in Atlanta, Detroit. So very scary stuff to see stuff like that on a football field, but he is doing much better. Shout out and prayers up to speedy recovery for Maurice Norris of the Detroit Lions. All right, Jay, let's talk some rookies, baby. Let's talk some rookies. Let's talk some rookies in their preseason debuts. Jay Rich, we are here. We're here to overreact, damn it. We're here to overreact. Damn
right we are.
Parse through the noise. What was real? What was fake? What was actionable? What can we take away? What did we enjoy seeing? What do we need to see a little more of? Or what do we not need to see any more of from a player? And, we ain't starting the show without anybody else, Jay Rich, than that man out of Cleveland, Shedeur Sanders. He took the field Friday night after Wake Up. We had talked about this debut. We were anticipating seeing number 12 play against the Carolina Panthers. And Shedeur played very, very well in the game. Jay Rich threw 2 touchdown passes, ran around, celebrated after picking up 8-yard rush attempts. He also was running around back there a little bit like he did at Colorado, a little bit of drifting that we've got to fix. But all things considered, he did not look like he was set up to fail. It looked like he exceeded expectations in his debut, and the enthusiasm for the 5th round pick is sky high, Jay Rich. I just want your initial thoughts on the performance, the hysteria, the excitement around Cleveland Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders. And it wasn't just the people in the stands and they were panning every damn black person in the stands. Every play that was made, they had to find a black person in the stands to put that camera on every time he made a play. But talk about Shedeur seizing his moment and opportunity in the first preseason game.
I think you got to give the kid a lot of credit, man. It wasn't perfect by any stretch, but I think the biggest takeaway from me with Sanders, and this is something that you don't always see from quarterbacks, is that when the moment got bigger, he got better pretty much every time. There was a couple of slants that he tried to find the location on and just didn't work out. He just slightly missed them. Lives to see another day. He ran around back there, And sometimes he made the play, sometimes he didn't. But whenever the moment was really, really big, he seemed to make the play. And the throw was right on time, right on target. It was when he didn't need to be as perfect and he got a little bit relaxed in maybe his delivery. He may have sailed the ball here or there, but like the poise in the pocket, his ability to move around pressure without being, I guess, out of control with his eyes downfield, like that to me is just, again, that's Shedeur Sanders. It's not like he played any way differently than he does on a regular basis when he's his time in Colorado, but it's just
Jerry, this throw was insane, dude. This throw, I don't care who it is. I mean, the anticipation, the touch, the arm strength that doesn't look like a weak arm. It looks good enough to do what he needs to do. That was a dot on that throw right there.
Yeah, no, Sanders was great. And that's where, I understand people hating on Sanders. Some people caping up for Sanders. It goes both sides, but he was good. Like there's no reason to look at that performance and say he played poorly. And I only hope he can build off it, right? The biggest thing here is, what does it mean for the rest of the quarterback room? Because I forget who was talking about it, but someone was asked, like, who's got the most pressure going into next week? And the answer is Dillon Gabriel, right? Because Dillon Gabriel has to do this or better. There's no excuses now. Sanders came out and he did his thing, and he just looked like a quarterback that's probably at worst equivalent to Jaxson Dart, right? Like everyone thought, some people thought he'd go higher than that, but I always thought Sanders was like in that Jaxson Dart range of quarterback.
That's what you said. You said they're in the same
draft,
range.
Right?
Yep.
They could go either way, right? The Giants could take either one. They obviously took Dart, and Sanders fell. But I think after one game, you can say, yeah, he's probably in the same range of Jaxson Dart type of quarterback. But how did you feel about Sanders, and kind of what are your thoughts on him right now?
I think he's handled this process incredibly well. I believe he was humbled during the draft process. I mean, he's pretty much come out and said that in so little words, that he would do some things differently. And he said all the right things. The reporters, it feels like they've been trying to bait him. How do you feel about not getting that many reps? You're rolling with the fourth stringers in practice. And all he said from the time he's been drafted to now is, I'm making the most of my opportunities. God's got me. I'm doing what I need to do. And when he got the job and he got the opportunity on Friday night, he performed. He performed well. You could say it was preseason week one all you want, but the same people who say that from a negative connotation, had he went out there and stunk it up and shit the bed, they would have been like, I told you, this is why he's the fourth string. Shedeur's not good. He was a 5th round pick. So he went out there and he answered the call. I'm very happy that he did that. Y'all know I was very bullish on him. I don't believe that he fell to the 5th round because of his talent. I don't. You're not going to sell me that Dillon Gabriel was, 60 picks better than Shedeur Sanders, and that Shedeur didn't deserve to be in that same range of a Tyler Shough who went 40th overall. Like, there's no football logical thing that's going to get me to believe that. He fell for probably a multitude of reasons, some being his own doing, but all you could do is play who's on your schedule and maximize your moment and opportunity when you get it. He can't go out there and magically put the Baltimore Ravens defense out there for all of us to see. All he can do is perform in the opportunity that was given to him, and I think he did that. He exceeded those expectations. It wasn't perfect, like you said, but you know who else wasn't perfect over the weekend? Jaxson Dart, missed throws. JJ McCarthy, missed throws. Trevor Lawrence, missed throws. That's what happens in the NFL. You're not going to complete every pass. What he did was convert in the red zone. He made some tight window throws. He moved around in the pocket. What he needs to do is stack days. He needs to stack days. And even if he does get a chance to start, this is somebody you could check the tape, Jay. I don't think it's going to be a big fantasy boom output situation from this team, from this offense, and from this quarterback. You've got to be a traditional pocket passer and put up big fantasy points. You got to be like 4,035. That's Kyler's never had a 4,000-yard season. You don't just roll into 3,800 yards and 35 touchdowns. So I still think the battle for him, unfortunately, being in Cleveland, the shit that's going on in Cleveland, it's still an uphill battle, but good job for preseason week one, Shedeur Sanders. You did touch on Jaxson Dart, Jay Rich, and Scott Connor and I were talking last night on Destination Chill. From a dynasty perspective, dynasty fantasy football, or hell, seasonal fantasy football leagues, I think Dart's performance was equally as impressive, and probably far more impactful for us from a fantasy football perspective, because I would anticipate Jaxson Dart getting on the field for the Giants before Shedeur truly takes meaningful snaps for the Browns. And that's not because I don't think Shedeur should be out there. I just think the Browns are going to give every opportunity to Flacco, to Kenny Pickett, and to Dillon Gabriel before they are, quote unquote, forced to put Shedeur on the field. But Jaxson Dart is just waiting. He's waiting for a Russell Wilson implosion, and then he'll be on the field versus Buffalo. I thought he looked great. He ran around. He threw the ball well. I know he can deliver the deep ball. He threw that to little Jordan Humphrey, dropped it in a dime, but he moved the pocket. He ran around. I thought Jaxson Dart was very, very impressive for his preseason debut, and one of the players that are in Dynasty, I'd be trying to get him. I love what I saw out of Jaxson Dart.
Yeah, he ran right behind Russell Wilson, so it wasn't like he was the third stringer and they threw Jameis out there. It was very clear. It was Russell Wilson, then it was Jaxson Dart. And I think the biggest thing with him, much like Sanders, is I expected a bit more negative plays from Jaxson Dart. He can get into trouble when he's running around, and he's not as poised in the pocket as a Sanders is at times, but it didn't look like that on the field. It looked like he was ready. It looked like he wasn't overwhelmed by the moment. He made a couple bad throws, but at the same time, he made some big throws as well. And so that's where, when you talk about Dart, it's like, how could you not be looking to acquire this guy? Because you know that Russell Wilson's not that good. You know at some point they're going to turn to Dart. And unlike Sanders, he's going to have some runway to potentially learn and grow within the offense. He's playing with Malik Neighbors. He's playing with Tyrone Tracy, right? It's a much better offensive situation as a whole. And if he can perform similarly to what he did just, in week one, again, it's preseason week one, but if he continues to stack days like this, he's probably going to be the starter a lot sooner than people think, because when we were looking at the schedule, the Giants' schedule is awful. Like, it's not going to be an easy road for them. And if at one point, they're really struggling down the stretch, and I believe it's that Saints game, like week 4 or week 5, they lose that game or something goes wrong in that game, Jaxson Dart will be in for the rest of the season. And that's when he's a player, again, he led the team in rushing, right? Again, it's preseason, but he led the team in rushing. So he's got some rushing ability and a bit of a rushing floor, along with a pretty solid passing floor as well, and kind of the way he was delivering the ball. I'm excited for Dart, man. I think he's going to have plenty of opportunities. And compared to Sanders, he's just on a much better team and in a much better situation to where he actually could thrive and provide, and like you said, actually provide some fantasy viability this season.
Man, I want to engage with the chat right here. And Jaxson Dart, I know I see Stanley saying he doesn't need to play this year. I thought he looked fine. Get him out there, see what you got. Just see what you got in the kid. I think he looked, and I'm a Jaxson Dart fan, so a very, very encouraging debut for him. I want to talk about Sanders real quick. Joe says, I think the Browns will play Shedeur or Dillon, win or lose. If one breaks out, then awesome. But if not, 2026 top 5 pick. Remember, they've got 2 first-round picks next year. Right? Just vibe with me on him getting on the field. You got the owner saying all this stuff. I didn't pick him. That's Andrew Berry's guy. You've got Dillon, just Cleveland. What a mess, man. What a mess.
Disaster, man.
You draft 2 running backs. No one's even talking about Dylan Sampson because he looked terrible in the game. I'm just like, Jesus, man, just get Jerome Ford out there. Find somebody else. He looked bad. So you draft 2 running backs. One of them, preseason debut, didn't look that good. The other one isn't even signed. You draft 2 quarterbacks. The 5th rounder looks better than the 3rd rounder, but you don't want to give the 5th rounder any first-team reps. Then you got Joe Flacco and freaking Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson standing on the sideline. Somebody said in the chat, it ain't Shedeur, it's Cleveland. Do you really
100%.
think, Jay, do you think that the ownership, the owners, they want to eat crow and look so wrong and be like, man, we just effed up. We got to start. It feels like they're doing everything imaginable not to put him on the field, right? Like, just how can we get Dillon Gabriel or Joe Flacco? I just don't trust Cleveland. I don't trust it, and it's unfortunate for Sanders, but it just feels like the battle for him to get out there early or in meaningful ways early. He'll get a chance at some point. It just seems like the leash is razor thin. They got 2 first-round picks next year. Cleveland, right? Anywhere but
Ray,
freaking
honestly,
Cleveland, man.
I mean, honestly, you got to think of it too, like, we just didn't talk about it because no one knew who he was. It's probably not that different than Brock Purdy, right? Like, when Brock Purdy was trying to make his way to be a quarterback on the Niners roster, I wouldn't be surprised if he looked better than Trey Lance. I wouldn't be surprised if he looked better than the starters there. Like, and so it's just because it's Shedeur Sanders, and the magnifying glass is always on Shedeur Sanders, regardless of where he is, what he's doing. I think that's the reason why you feel like, well, how could they possibly hold him back? And he's clearly the best quarterback there. I still think there's a world where they believe Joe Flacco's the guy, or they traded for Kenny Pickett so he could be the guy and see how he develops, because they weren't sure what they were going to get in the draft, right? They weren't sure they were going to get Sanders and Gabriel. Now, again, to your point, you didn't need to take Sanders and Gabriel. That was your choice. You made that choice, and now you're in a situation where you have 4 quarterbacks. One's going to have to get cut, and seemingly the easiest one to cut is your 5th round pick, right? Because you did spend the least draft capital on him.
There's no way they cut him from a business perspective, though. I agree with you. There's no way they cut him.
I agree with you, but that's if you got 2 starting quarterbacks, one you traded for, one you signed, and one you drafted in the 3rd round. The odd one out is the 4th rounder. Or it's the 5th rounder, sorry, the 4th guy in most circumstances. Now, this isn't most circumstances. And are they really going to cut Kenny Pickett, which they probably should, based on how things are going, and keep Joe Flacco as that veteran if all hell breaks loose, to be just the guy that can go to the podium and just do his job, right?
Justin Young says, with your theory, though, it's odd they put Sanders out week 1 of preseason for most of the game. The other ones were hurt.
He was the only one healthy.
He was the only healthy one. It was him and Snoop Huntley. So that's the reason why
Flacco was the only one that wasn't injured. But
they're not playing 50-year-old Joe Flacco in preseason game week 1. It's just not going to happen. So Justin, that's why, right? Like, he was the only guy that they had available. Let's talk about let's wrap up the rookie quarterbacks. Let's go to Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick that nobody talks about. Nobody talks about Cam Ward. He was 1st overall pick. He's the bona fide starting quarterback. Nobody gives a damn, right? Nobody even cares. 5 of 8, 67 passing yards. We saw the PFF grade was behind that of Jaxson Dart and Shedeur Sanders. I think my big takeaway is load up on Calvin Ridley. I mean,
nothing to do with Cam Ward.
Calvin Ridley. That's your boy, Jay Rich. You love you some Calvin Ridley. I don't know if he was just that wide asshole open or if Cam Ward's just going to throw it to him every play, but give me Calvin Ridley. And Cam Ward's debut for I think he only played 1 drive, maybe 2 drives.
2.
Thought he looked fine. It's just Tennessee is just not an exciting offense. It's not an exciting team. It's just parked in Tennessee, but good debut for Cam Ward. And then finally, Jay Rich, your boy, Tyler Shough, the experience of Shough last night. Give me your thoughts, because I know you watched every single second of this game for your New Orleans Saints. Talk about the Tyler Shough experience.
The Tyler Shough experience was a lot like the Spencer Rattler experience, which was a lot like the Jake Haener experience. And I'll just say this. I don't think it's as bad as... I don't think it's as good as the stat line is, because there was a lot of checkdowns. But in the same way that we praised Jalen Milroe on Friday for playing within himself and not trying to do too much, the interception that Shough threw was not great. But a lot of young quarterbacks make that mistake, and they don't realize how fast some of these DBs are in the NFL, and they throw that ball to the outside, and it gets picked off for 6. But the touchdown throw was equally impressive, right? Like, when you can throw a ball out like that, it doesn't matter if there's no one there. He was right on time, on target, in the right spot. All the receiver had to do was catch it and keep running. It wasn't behind him. It wasn't underthrown. It wasn't overthrown. It was pretty much right in the breadbasket. And so if you're Kellen Moore, Spencer Rattler was awful. He probably looked the worst.
He was pretty bad.
Any of the 3 quarterbacks.
I think he got hurt early, too. There was a sack he took. He got up. He didn't look good.
The only quarterback that looked worse than Spencer Rattler was Quinn Ewers, because Quinn Ewers was dreadful. And he was so bad. But if you're a New Orleans Saints fan, I understand that you may not be all in on Tyler Shough, but the reason why you start him is because of what you saw from Spencer Rattler. He had every opportunity to be the starting quarterback, to, grab hold of that job further, to prove that he's better than Tyler Shough, and he didn't look anything at all like a player you want to start it for an NFL franchise.
Which one, Rattler or Shough? Looked rough, man.
Shough had his moments that were rough.
He looked rough.
It can be excused by the fact that it was his first game. Spencer Rattler started games in the NFL, and he still looked worse than Tyler Shough.
I'm not closing the book. I'm not closing the book on him. What I'm trying to do today is just react to what we saw, right? What we saw, how it felt, how it looked, what the stat line was. But I'm not closing the book. that Tyler Shough is just going to be the worst quarterback ever. I'm not there. But it was an experience. And if you're a Saints fan and you're looking around and you're like, damn, Shedeur looked pretty good. Dart looked pretty good. Yeah. Ward was fine for what he did. And then you're like, oh, man, Tyler Shough. You know that meme where it's like those dragons and you got like one mean-looking dragon, there's another one, and there's the goofy-looking one? That kind of feels like Tyler Shough right now. But we'll give him some time. He didn't have Chris Olave, no Rashid Shaheed, no Alvin Kamara, which absolutely helps the offense. So here's what I want to do, Jay Rich. Let's take it from a dynasty perspective, okay? Because we can't do this from a seasonal perspective, but from a dynasty perspective, let's do a little would you rather Shedeur Sanders edition. Can we do that?
Okay.
Would you rather Shedeur Sanders in dynasty? Okay, Jay, here we go. Would you rather Shedeur Sanders in dynasty or Tyler Shough?
I will take Shedeur Sanders.
Shedeur Sanders or Sam Darnold?
I will happily take Shedeur Sanders.
We start low. We always start low. Shedeur Sanders or Matthew Stafford?
I would personally take Stafford.
Over Shedeur in dynasty. Okay.
If I could trade my Sanders for Stafford, I'd probably do it.
Okay. Shedeur Sanders or Geno Smith?
And I would probably also trade my Shedeur Sanders for Geno Smith.
Okay. And
again, not long-term answers, but definitely bona fide starters, probably top 20 starters on a yearly basis.
Shedeur Sanders or Jaxson Dart?
I think you should just have Jaxson Dart just because of the value insulation. They could have very similar outcomes, very similar careers, and I do slightly prefer Jaxson Dart's rush or perceived rushing upside compared to Sanders, even though Sanders was running a little bit in his own right and did look pretty good doing so.
Here's the final one. Shedeur Sanders or a random 2027 first-round pick?
I would cash out all day. And the reason why I would cash out is because of the ceiling that Sanders has. Right? It's not that I don't think he can be a good NFL quarterback. It's that he's not going to be much of a fantasy quarterback unless he's a huge outlier, which I'd be willing to bet against for that 27 first-round pick.
Okay. All right, Jay, those are the rookies. That low on Darnold from Justin. Trip Crown says, I think Sanders might start, but he's also a fifth rounder. Not saying he should be. That's the thing, Trip. I'm the guy sitting back here where my QB1 got drafted in the fifth round. I don't believe he was a fifth rounder, but that's where he was picked. The team has no investment. They keep talking shit about him half the time. We'll see how it plays out. All the hype. I think the whole point of that exercise is with that hype. I don't know if people are really going out of their way to get him, but you can go to Dynasty Daddy and look at the trade finder. People are trading first-round picks for Shedeur. Jay Rich, there are deals out there that can be made where you can flip him right now, for a profit just off of week one of preseason action. Let's touch on a couple of other quarterbacks who are not rookies, but we did get to see them play. Justin Fields. There was a lot of hoopla about Fields' awful practice reports, right? Just can't complete a damn pass, which we kind of know that, but they get in the game and what's he do, Jay Rich? Drives him down the field and runs in a touchdown. Beautiful. Yeah. That's what you want for fantasy football. I think this is why you just can't, you really can't be concerned, Jay Rich. If Fields is the starting quarterback, he's going to score you fantasy points, right? He looked fine in the game. Right here. Justin Fields looked solid. He was 3 for 4, 13-yard rushing touchdown, showed off that speed. This is why you draft Fields, not for him. I think his passing yard total line is like 2,200 yards on the season. It's like 2,250 for Justin Fields. So they're not even, the odds makers aren't even expecting a lot of passing output from Fields, but he's going to run around. So Justin Fields, Jay, you good with him? You're good with him, right? Fantasy football 2025, not talking dynasty, 2025 Justin Fields.
He was fine, right? He was
3 for 4 and scored a rushing. You can't stand him.
Okay. No, let me ask you a question. If he throws for 2,200 yards, how many yards does Andrew Beck have? Does he have 1,500? Who? Ray, that was his leading receiver. You know, number 47, that you were wondering who the hell is that guy catching passes from Justin Fields underneath because he just kept checking it down? Yeah, that guy, Andrew Beck. That's the dude he was throwing to. He wasn't throwing to Garrett Wilson. He wasn't throwing to Donovan Edwards or Arian Smith or Alan Lazard or Isaiah Davis or Malachi
How
Corley.
do you feel about Justin Fields? Are you good with him? The answer is yes, right?
I'm fine with him, but it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to support his pass catchers, which sucks. That was the whole point.
He threw the ball 4 times.
He could have thrown the ball 50 times. Do you think it would have been a different result?
I think he's just fine, Jay Rich. I think
he's fine.
I think he's fine.
Do you think he will return a top 12 quarterback?
If he starts all season, yeah.
Do you think he can be a top 10 quarterback?
If he starts all season, yes.
Okay. And I imagine you wouldn't go much higher than that.
No.
10 is probably where you got to draw the
line. Don't push it any further than that. That's about as far as I'm going. JJ McCarthy, we got to see him on the field. Jay Rich, JJ McCarthy played, finished the game, I think 4 for 7, picked up a first down on 4th down with his legs, targeted Jordan Addison early and often. I think Addison had 3 catches on his opening drive. JJ McCarthy in the building for the Minnesota Vikings. Jay, on the field for the Vikings. Positive performance for the second-year / rookie quarterback.
Yeah, I thought it was a little up and down for my liking. As you said, he threw it to Addison, and this is where my brain's a little nervous, right? Because JJ is already hurt. Like, Justin Jefferson's already kind of hurt, dealing with his hamstring injury. Should be fine. But he's not going to have Addison to start the season, right? It'll probably be all JJ. So we'll see, but it seems like there's just not a whole lot there beyond Addison. And maybe he was just trying to get Addison the ball, and that was kind of the game plan. But I was also a bit discouraged by the rushing attack. I hoped Mason would be a little bit better. I thought the offensive line would play a little bit better. But I thought McCarthy was fine. You know, I kind of hoped to see a little bit more from him, but again, it is what it is. He only had a couple drives, only had a couple plays, converted that 4th down, which was great. But I don't know. How did you feel any differently about McCarthy? I thought he was
I've just given an incomplete, just 1 series. He hit Addison. He ran around. He was on the field. He was fine. I don't think we got to see enough to really formulate an opinion. He found Addison, missed a couple of throws. We'll see if he plays anymore in the preseason or if they shut him down. You talked about Quinn Ewers did not look good. And then the Chicago Bears did not play Kaleb Williams. He did not play. I was curious to see that. When Jordan Loved, we talked about him with the Jaden Reed injury segment. He did not look good. 1 for 5. So hopefully we see a little more from them. Let's move on to the running back position. Jay Rich, the running backs that played over the weekend. And yes, we are going to start with your boy, Big Hendo. Treyveon Henderson, Jay Rich. Treyveon Henderson played Friday night versus the I see some Bleacher Report rankings, but Treyveon Henderson against the Washington, they beat the brakes off the Commanders. I mean, we're not even gonna get into the game from that degree. He had 1 carry in the game, 1 of them called back, 1 rush, 18 total counting yards for Henderson, but it was the kick return heard around the world. It was explosion. It was fast, 100-yard kick, the opening kick return. I know you were hyped as hell watching that happen. Talk about this young player's performance, even though Ramondre Stevenson was out there with Drake May, and I think he had like 6-7 rush attempts from Ramondre Stevenson. He looked fine carrying the ball. Henderson is going to be the 1B, the complimentary back to Ramondre Stevenson this year. But how excited were you for Henderson?
Oh, Ray, I was so excited.
You were excited.
This is what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting to see Treyveon Henderson, and I mean, credit to him. He exceeded expectations. He did everything that we know he's capable of in 1 play. And he showed you exactly why he is so much different than every other running back in this class. He is the home run hitter. He's a great pass catcher.
Every other
he's
running
dynamic.
back, huh?
Every other running back. Yeah.
Okay.
The top ones in this class, absolutely. So that's where it's like, when people talk about Henderson and why he can be one of the best running backs in the league, and not why I think he can be Jahmyr Gibbs, but it's like, you clearly saw it. Once he got the ball, the acceleration, the speed, and the quickness to which he moved, he was unlike anyone else we saw this week. Like, he just was. I can't think of another running back that was as impressive when it comes to his ability to accelerate and his agility with the ball in his hands. It's very rare, and it's his superpower, and it's something he showcased from the very beginning. And it's not that I think he's the best running back in the NFL. He's just a different skill set than a lot of other runners, and his dynamic ability is going to show itself on the field consistently.
He was fast, Jay Rich. They targeted him in the receiving game, and all reports are he's going to be that explosive passing down option for the New England Patriots. I'm trying to think of a running back who looked more explosive than him week one. And
Jahmyr Gibbs was on the sidelines.
Yeah, he was on the sidelines. Bijan didn't play. Saquon Barkley didn't play. Those are fresh legs, Jay Rich. Those are fresh rookie legs right there on that kick return touchdown. There was somebody that put out a tweet of some data that Xavier Worthy, sometime he had one of the fastest plays last year, like 21 point something miles per hour, and that's what Henderson hit on that kick return. Excited for him, but he wasn't the only one. RJ Harvey, Jay Rich, the fifth, not the first, second, third, fourth stringer, the fifth string running back, RJ Harvey. The Denver Broncos took the field this past weekend against the San Francisco 49ers, and lo and behold, the first running back out there with the ones, with Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton, the fifth stringer, RJ Harvey. Jay Rich, the fifth stringer, was on the field with the starters. And again, I'm taking away skill sets. What did these guys look like week one? RJ Harvey looked fast. I mean, those plays where he hit the outside, whether he needed to bounce him or not, the explosiveness in his game was there. I'm watching him. I'm like, oh yeah, this will play. This is going to work. Great offensive line, strong defense, and speed in the backfield. This is going to be very good. I was impressed with RJ Harvey's explosiveness. He looked like he belonged as well. We got to clean some stuff up, but that's what these preseason practices are for. Did you look explosive? The answer to that question for RJ Harvey was yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where, when I'm talking about Henderson, people can say I'm glazing and all this stuff, but like, they look different. Like, they do look different than the other guys on the roster, than other guys around the league. Like, they have that extra gear that not everybody has in the NFL. And Harvey absolutely has that. You know, we're talking about, well, he's going to come off on third downs, but it doesn't really matter in this offense, kind of the way it is. Like, Dobbins can come in, he can pass protect, and it's fine because Harvey's going to be the primary ball carrier and probably going to be the primary guy in the receiving game on first and second down. So whether you believe he's the best running back and has the best vision ever, like, I've always thought he has really good vision from the time when I watched him at UCF. He was good at the Senior Bowl. He showed that exposure at the Senior Bowl. Like, he's just stacking good days and good practices and looking good on the field as well. So I'm not overly concerned about Harvey. I think he's going to be more than fine.
Yeah, I was impressed. He showed speed, explosiveness. That's what you want to see. That is what you want to see. Unlike a running back that I'm going to get to, not now, but here coming up. Jay, they called me crazy. I was on Yahoo. I said, hey, there's a sleeper running back in Chicago that we probably need to take some notice on, because it's not always what we're hearing from the coaches about a player. It's what we're not hearing. Hadn't heard shit about Roschon Johnson. The big thing about Roschon this past week is, he secured that goal line role. Well, maybe not. Maybe not so fast, because Kyle Monangai, Jay Rich, I don't know if you watched much of the Dolphins-Bears game, but rookie running back Kyle Monangai, who apparently is the RB2 in Chicago, looked good. There was a play right here. I tweeted this out after I saw it from Kyle Monangai. Just the dead leg in the hole, running through people down at the goal. I mean, you're just like, oh, shit, this dude looks good. He played very, very well in this game versus the Miami Dolphins. So if he is out there on any deep dynasty waiver wire type things, I'd pick him up. And even in seasonal leagues with DeAndre Swift there, if this dude truly has the trust of Ben Johnson to operate in that David Montgomery sledgehammer role. Also, Kyle Monangai, 0 fumbles during his collegiate career at Rutgers. Very positive performance from the young rookie running back. Jay, this one kind of hurts me, man. The running back that I'm going to talk about now, it's one game. It's preseason. We don't want to overreact. But if I had to tier all the rookie running backs this past weekend, the one who
he's down there,
the one who's down towards the bottom for me after week one was Kaleb Johnson, Jay Rich. Big fan of his game. Big fan of Kaleb Johnson's game. Was a top 3 running back for me in this class, but my God, I texted you and I was like, he looked like he was running in mud. He looked slow as hell, Jay Rich. I'm like, what are you doing? He dropped the ball. He looked slow. Nick Farabaugh, one of the beat reporters of the Pittsburgh Steelers, somebody that I've followed for years. I'm paraphrasing what he said, but he said, watch the Kaleb stuff back. Here's what Kaleb Johnson said, or the coaches said what they want to see from him in preseason game 2, play faster. This is from Pittsburgh. He needs to play. He was slow, Jay Rich. I didn't know if he was nervous, if the line wasn't there, but in my mind, you get all these beat reports, these mixed messages out there looking like a Lev Bell 2.0. He looked nothing like Le'Veon Bell. He looked nothing, maybe Lev Bell right now, but not Lev Bell when he was number 26 with Pittsburgh. He needs to play better. I was very much not impressed with Kaleb Johnson, Jay Rich.
Yeah, he was slow. He was thinking out there. He was in his head. You saw him sometimes. There was one of his pass pro reps that just, you could tell he didn't know where to go. He was flustered. The only play that he made, unfortunately, for Travis Hunter was stiff arming Travis Hunter on the edge, which, I mean, with his size, he's probably should be able to do that. But yeah, it's one of those situations where, okay, you're a bigger guy. You don't have to be super fast, but like, come on, man, give us something. And I didn't feel like he played overly big either, despite his size. So it's like, you just need to see a little bit more from him, and hopefully it's just nerves, and it's just, hard
I'm
to say
not
what it could
killing
be.
him.
And it's not
Stanley,
excuses. It's just
Stanley's like he'll be. We're just reacting to what we saw. There's no way you could watch that and be like, oh, he looked great. He did. He looked slow. He's got to play.
The problem for me with Kaleb is that we hoped he could potentially earn that role early in the year. And if he plays like this, that's not happening. We may not see him hardly at all, if not till the end of the season.
Stop. You take it too far. You're taking it too far. He's going to play. He's not going to not play at all. It's not going to be Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell and then no Kaleb. That's just...
But if he's not playing well, he's not going to play.
That's not going to happen. He's going to be out there. Like, it's not going to happen, Jay. Like, I hear you, but no.
But why do you think a player that is not performing well, that is not playing up to his play speed, is going to be on the field? This is why
you got to reel it in. He didn't look fast, okay? He didn't play awfully. It wasn't the worst running back. He looked slow. That was my criticism. He looked slow. The damn Steelers and Kaleb Johnson came out themselves and said, yeah, you need to play faster next week. So the observation was in fact. They said play faster. But to take that and say he's not going to play until the end of the season, I'm not doing that.
I'm saying
all I'm saying is he needs to play faster.
To play like this, we can't project him to have an early role in this Steelers offense. There's nothing wrong with that. Because if he does play like this, he's not going to have a role in this offense. And I think that's fair to say. Right? You're saying he needs to play better, and I agree with you.
Faster.
He does need to play
faster.
Better. Faster, better. He needs to be both. You can't average 2.5 yards a carry against third stringers and say, oh, he just needs to play faster. He needs to play better.
They spent a third-round pick on him, Jay. He's going to play. Okay? He's going to play football. He's a running back. It's Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell. He's going to play. So play faster, right? He's going to play faster. That's what he said. That's what the Steelers are saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm not taking it to the point that he's not going to play in the damn regular season because of how slow he looked in preseason week 1. He needs to play faster in week 2. That is my takeaway for Kaleb Johnson. What other running backs? Positive buzz. A lot of the big...
What do you think of the Jaguars backfield? Right? It was
Etienne.
all Etienne early.
Etienne.
Right? People want it to be Bigsby. It's been all Etienne.
And
then obviously Tuten got involved and got in the end zone showing off his power. Obviously had some help from the offensive line, but
Tuten looked good. Tuten looked good that was a powerful run.
Didn't fumble, right?
Did not
That's
fumble.
Big.
You got to make sure you hold on to that ball.
We caught a couple passes as well, so it's a positive sign for Tuten as well.
I'll say this. Ollie Gordon, if you pull up Kaleb Johnson's clips and then Ollie Gordon, you'll think one of them was Devon Achane and the other one was LeGarrette Blount. And it was Ollie Gordon as the Achane. You're like, this dude, he's wearing number 31, Jay Rich. He's looking just like goddamn Raheem Mostert out there. I'm like, is that Raheem Mostert? You're like, no, that's 6'1", 230-pound Ollie Gordon. His first carry, Jay Rich. Here's Ollie. For those of you who missed it, here's OG2. Oh, this is my boy. Man, I text Ollie after the game. I said, good job. Ollie getting the ball, bouncing off of defenders, and then just chugging down the field. I want to see some more Ollie Gordon. So in this game, Devon Achane started. Tua was on the field. Achane was on the field. Achane looked, get him off. Get him out of there. Looked great. Achane looked great. Get him out of there. I think they took him out before the end of the first drive. Then they bring in Jalen Wright. 9 carries, 16 yards. He got like 3-4 straight carries at the goal line. Stuff, right? McStuffins. Doc McStuffins Jalen Wright couldn't get in the end zone. He ends up scoring on the opposite end of the field. But the third running back up was not Ollie Gordon. It was Alexander Madison. He was clearly running ahead of Ollie Gordon, but Alexander Madison gets hurt in the game. I don't know if it was a concussion, neck injury. I don't know what it was, but he got hurt. Ollie Gordon finishes it out. Ollie caught one for 39 yards, ran well, scored a touchdown. I want to see a little more Ollie Gordon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is where, when you talked about it early on and Ollie Gordon's potential role as the short yardage back, it's hard to go out there as Jalen Wright after Tyreek Hill was saying we need to get Jalen Wright in there and just get stuffed over and over and over and over. And it felt like that's all we saw. And credit to Wright a little bit, like that offensive line is really bad. If you're banking on a rushing attack, I mean, Etienne's different because he's so fast and so dynamic. And he can obviously catch on the passes. Like, if you had a traditional running back there in Ollie Gordon as the starter, it's going to look a lot like it did last year for Ollie Gordon behind that Miami Dolphins offensive line, and not like we saw when he won the Doak Walker Award 2 years ago. And so that's where, like, for a player like Gordon, you want to see him get these opportunities and look good because there is a potential role there in this offense. And so if he continues to show that he's better than Jalen Wright in the short yardage, using his power, using his size, he may have a small role on this Dolphins team early, and maybe he can only continue to grow from there.
All right, Jay Rich, we've got to do it. We're going to give you a chance at redemption right here, right now. So you need to think long and hard about these answers because we're going to play Would You Rather Treyveon Henderson edition. All right?
Context.
All right, Jay, this
season or dynasty? I need the context because it matters a lot. It matters a lot.
Season. This season.
Okay.
This season. Dynasty, I mean, yeah, he's a top
5 running back.
Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Seasonal, all right? We're going to start right now. Would you rather Treyveon Henderson? He's currently valued as the RB 18 on Underdog. So, Jay Rich, would you rather Treyveon Henderson or Kenneth Walker?
I mean, is he healthy? Can he be healthy?
What you know right now, would you rather Treyveon Henderson or Kenneth Walker this season?
I'll take Henderson.
Treyveon Henderson or James Cook?
I'll take Henderson.
Treyveon Henderson or Chuba Hubbard?
Ooh. I will probably take Chuba Hubbard.
Treyveon Henderson or Breece Hall?
I will take Treyveon Henderson.
Treyveon Henderson or Kyren Williams?
I will narrowly take Kyren Williams.
Treyveon Henderson or Omarion Hampton?
I'm taking Henderson over Hampton now. Like 100%. I'm just going to do it.
Treyveon Henderson or Josh Jacobs?
I'll take Josh Jacobs.
Okay. All right. Treyveon Henderson or Alvin Kamara?
Okay, Ray, vibe with me.
He's ahead of Kamara now. Just which one would you take? I'm not vibing shit.
Yeah.
Henderson or Kamara?
Henderson.
All right. He's ahead of Alvin Kamara right now. So what's interesting is you wouldn't take him over Chuba Hubbard, who's ahead, but you would take him over damn near everybody else except that. So you'd probably have him, you'd have him slotted around that RB12 spot for fantasy football. Dynasty-wise, let me ask you this. Dynasty-wise, Treyveon Henderson or Devon Achane?
Oh, I got to take Etienne. Got to take Etienne. You're hoping that Treyveon Henderson is Devon Etienne, basically. Like, that's what you're hoping for.
That's what you're telling me. All right, so you've moved him over Hampton. Why over Hampton today when on Friday you said you would take Hampton? Because of that kick return?
No,
return?
It's a few different things, right? It's the way they utilize them, I thought, is great for fantasy. I still don't know what's going to happen with that RB rotation.
A kick return is great?
No, the passes. He caught passes, which is what you wanted to see him do anyways. But it's a bit of the Slater injury. It's a bit of, we'll see how this team looks. And I still think there's going to be a bit of a running back rotation here in LA. So it's a few different things. I hope that Hampton is the clear-cut guy, but I don't know, man. I'm just going to bet on how dynamic he is and what he can do on a per-play basis relative to other players. And that's where, like, when you talk about James Cook, when you talk about an Omarion Hampton, who I think is going to be in a bit more of a timeshare, if you're guaranteeing me, Kyren Williams, Josh Jacobs, Chuba Hubbard volume, I'll bet on those guys because I'm very confident in what they're going to do on a week-to-week basis, very consistent, and have a very high floor. If you're going to give me a James Cook that's going to have some variance even in a great offense, I'm going to just bet on a player I believe is a bit more dynamic. And that's the reason why I would take Henderson over some of those guys. I'm going to bet on the ceiling outcome, which I think we saw from that first game is very, very high.
All right. Let's move on to the wide receiver position. And, outside of Shedeur, maybe this was the most anticipated sort of debut that we were looking to see. Travis Hunter, Jay Rich, was on the field, both sides of the field. Travis Hunter, 11 snaps on offense, 2 catches, 9 yards. Had another catch that was called back due to illegal formation or somebody was down the field. 8 snaps on the defensive side of the ball. He played exclusively with the twos in this game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was not targeted in the passing game. He did miss 1 tackle versus Kaleb Johnson. Kaleb Johnson, he chugged as hard as he could to hit that corner and got around Travis Hunter, gave him a little stiff arm. Travis Hunter, offensively, they got him the ball early. I mean, those screen games that Liam Cohen, the screen work that Liam Cohen is known for, we saw Chris Godwin operate like that. Trevor Lawrence was on the field. You talked about Travis Etienne. They had their big boys out there. BTJ was out there, almost got decapitated in that game by Castro, the safety from Pittsburgh. My God, T-Law, put that ball. Hey, man, don't do that in preseason. I was very nervous for O'Brien Thomas. I was like, they're about to get him out of there right now. But Travis Hunter, offensively, I was texting you and I'm just like, Jay, this dude looks like a receiver. I'm looking at the attempt versus Kaleb Johnson. And the first running back I'm thinking about, like, there's no way he could go out there and take those hits on offense and then have to deal with damn Isaiah Pacheco running the ball around. I didn't even go to Derrick Henry. I didn't go Saquon Barkley. I'm like, I don't want to see him trying to tackle Isaiah Pacheco, the hardest running back in the NFL. Seeing it on the NFL field, Jay, it feels fun to think about. In Madden, I love it. You can put him at cornerback and at receiver. He needs to play wide receiver, Jay Rich. Play wide out. Receiver. Travis Hunter, just play wide receiver for us, Hunter. What are your thoughts? You can't really take a lot away from usage and how much he's going to do on either side of the ball, but I think he's going to be very good on the offensive side. I do believe that offensively, is he going to deliver at the highest end of the expectation for him? Probably not, because there are people who think he can be Justin Jefferson year one. He might develop into that down the line, but I do think he's going to deliver in fantasy, but maybe not that 1,500-yard season, but I think he's going to be really, really good on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, I think that the biggest takeaway for me, and maybe it's unfair to Hunter, maybe he can improve, but the notion that there was a opportunity for him to be the wide receiver 1 in Jacksonville feels a little crazy today, right? Based off what we saw. And so that's where it's like, if you have BTJ and you're drafting him high, you should be pretty confident because he's probably going to be the guy. And Hunter still has some growth to do at the wide receiver position because it is a bit newer for him. And he has primarily played cornerback. But when he's out there, he doesn't look like he's going to be the greatest cornerback initially. Maybe he can add some weight, get a bit stronger, and be more than fine. But I think we need to see a little bit more from Travis Hunter at cornerback to say, okay, yeah, this guy can actually play, let's say, even 50% of snaps at the cornerback position throughout an entire NFL game and still play 80% at wide receiver for sure.
Yep. People are talking, Kevin's talking about that Pacheco. Y'all know what I mean. When I say tackle Pacheco, y'all know exactly what I mean. He runs very, very violently. He is Thomas Rawls 2.0. Do y'all remember Thomas Rawls? Thomas Rawls was a very violent rusher as well.
Angry.
Did not last long, but you didn't want to tackle the Thomas Rawls train. That was that running back out of Seattle. I thought Hunter was fine. Thought Hunter played well. We'll see. We'll see how this offense progresses going into week 2 of the preseason. Hopefully we see a little more extended run from the Jacksonville starters to see what this looks like. But they prioritized them early. He had 3 targets in the first drive. They wanted to see what the new toy could do. And, he did what he did. It was just an uneventful night.
What do you think of the offense?
I think they're going to be all right, man.
I thought it looked like Jacksonville, unfortunately,
but I think,
where they're just kind of like, okay.
I think they're going to be all right.
Hopefully it gets better.
They've got multiple running backs they can cycle through. You've got multiple receivers. Brenton Strange was out there. He caught a pass as well. Brenton Strange looked good. Limited opportunity. You had De'Ami Brown out there. I think offensively, if T-Law can just go execute, I think they'll be fine. I think that Jacksonville.
I think that's the biggest question, right? Is can T-Law execute at the level that is required for this offense and for the playmakers around them, especially with the way they're being drafted, because we really like Brian Thomas, but we need to see a little bit more from him if he can support him and Hunter, and we're going to have a phenomenal rushing attack like we saw in Tampa last year with some semblance of Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby, and then maybe even Tuten at some point.
Hey, let's talk about the other guy in Carolina, Tetairoa McMillan. Jay Rich, he looked good as well. He had 2 catches, 43 yards, went downfield, caught a long one from Bryce Young. Missed this one from Bryce Young right here, the end zone target. He points back. I see you. Anticipation throw from Bryce Young, who also looked good. Look, doesn't it kind of feel like Bryce Young is playing like that number 1 pick? It's the momentum that he ended the 24 season coming out strong in this first preseason game. Again, preseason week 1, but it's feeling like, okay, Bryce Young is finally starting to get some confidence and get it together. I thought McMillan looked good. I thought McMillan looked good. I thought he looked good. Leggett got ejected early. He got ejected early, so that doesn't help. That doesn't help Leggett, who's fighting for opportunity in this offense when you got guys like Jimmy Horn getting pumped up. You've got other receivers out there. Jalen Coker looked awesome. Xavier Leggett needs to get his shit together. Get it. You're out there fighting. Just chill out, dude. Chill out. Tetairoa McMillan, though.
McMillan was good. That ball down the sideline that Bryce Young threw was perfect. It was probably one of the best throws we saw all weekend. Just the way that he delivered that pass was absurd. Just right in the money.
Bucket.
Tet did a great job holding off the defender, boxing him out, tracked it very, very well. I'm excited for Tet. I've been a bit of a detractor, and I still think they're going to have those growing pains. But to see that ball right off the rip, that is encouraging because it means that Bryce Young is ready to go. That tells you that Bryce Young is feeling good, he's confident, and you're just dropping that throw in there like that. That's a very, very good sign for this Carolina offense. Now, I think there's a lot of work to do outside of McMillan because he's probably going to see a ton of targets. We'll see what else they do. Is it going to be Coker? Is it Leggett?
Coker looked good, man.
And
Coker
Hubbard,
looked
right?
good. Coker looked good.
This offense has the pieces that could be quite good this season. It's just going to see how it all kind of comes together.
Yep. All right. Well, we got to talk about your boy, Jay Rich, a coach that you just cannot stand. Let's see if we got some audio here for Ben Johnson. Jay Rich, can y'all hear this?
It frankly isn't.
Yeah. Can you hear it?
I love the way he's going.
Okay, all right. Let's run. This is Ben Johnson on Luther Burden. He's got to give a takeoff.
Seems to have made up quite a bit of ground from the time that he missed. Do you agree that that's the case, and where do you see him in his development right now?
No, here's what I appreciate about Luther. He's working his tail off behind the scenes. He's with Elle all the time. I see him at breakfast. He's asking questions. I see him walking through. He's doing some extra stuff that maybe most don't appreciate right now. And so because of that, we're starting to see the details tighten up on the field. It's not where it needs to be yet. It frankly isn't. But I love the way he's going. I love how hard he's working and everything we thought about him in terms of the weapon he is with the ball in his hands. That's shown up from day one.
So he's saying Luther Burden, not the attention to detail. It's getting closer, not quite where it needs to be.
Where is Coach Speak Index? Is that positive or negative, Ray? I can't tell.
Well, what is it? That's what I want to ask you because you are you are not a fan of old Ben Johnson talking as much as he talks. Was that a positive for Luther Burden or a negative from Coach Ben Johnson?
I think it's a slight positive. Because he said he's still not where he needs to be. And
he said, let's be
Ben
honest.
Johnson, he missed so much time because he was injured. But he's doing the right things. He's going about his business. And even the what is it? The Kyle Monangai run that you brought up, that was Luther Burden in the hole.
He made a good block
to make that space on that play. And that was something that I noticed just kind of watching that game. It was one of his best plays of the day was making that block. But I don't know, man. Is it positive? Is it negative? Does he even like Luther Burden? It sounds like he wants to like Luther Burden so bad. He just doesn't. He's just not quite there yet. He's got to earn Ben Johnson's respect.
Yeah, he's got to earn that respect.
It's just I don't know, man. It's just weird. The way that he talks about his players is
he's trying to get the best out of Burden.
Backhanded compliments.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bunch of it's riddles. He's the goddamn Riddler out there. Just stop talking about and it's always Luther Burden, right? It's not. It's just.
But Colson Loveland. Never said a bad thing about Colson Loveland his entire life.
Does the right things. The attention to detail is pinpoint accuracy. That Burden, he's got to earn his way out of 87 from Ben Johnson. Jay Rich, another rookie receiver who didn't do a lot, but the one catch was encouraging. I put two. It's a rookie and then a second-year player. Jalen McMillan and Emeka Egbuka both had big plays down the field. Emeka Egbuka, 1 catch, 21 yards. McMillan, 1 for 25 in the preseason debut. Both of them contested catches. McMillan had to go back shoulder in the middle of the field. These guys are the future in Tampa Bay. There's still reports that Chris Godwin may not be ready for week 1, which at this point, I'm not counting on early season Chris Godwin. If I get it, great. I'm just not counting on it. Mike Evans isn't going to do shit to week 1 because that's Big Mike. That's a Hall of Famer. He's not going to do anything. But other than that, McMillan and Emeka Egbuka, both of those players are probably going to be they're going to be relevant this year. I don't think Egbuka just assumes Chris Godwin's usage and he's a 1,000-yard receiver off of the rip. But these are two players who are going to be parts of this offense moving forward. And I've continued to talk about McMillan's ADP on Underdog being criminal. Like, I want Jalen McMillan. I also want Emeka Egbuka. 1 catch for each of those guys, but they're going to be a big part of this Tampa Bay offense.
So the question to you, Ray, is do you think that Egbuka is undervalued potentially because we may not see Chris Godwin at the beginning of the season?
No, I don't think he's undervalued. I think he's valued. I think he's valued pretty appropriately right now.
Because the one difference between McMillan and Egbuka, and maybe it's just what I've seen and I've heard, is that all reports from Todd Bowles, from Baker Mayfield, from even Mike Evans, who's talked about Emeka Egbuka, is he's playing all over the field. He can play in Mike Evans' role, he can play in Chris Godwin's role, he can play in Jalen McMillan's role, and we haven't heard that from Jalen McMillan. Jalen McMillan plays his role very well, and we saw that last season. But if we walk into the season, week 1, we might get Mike Evans, Jalen McMillan, and Emeka Egbuka because Chris Godwin's unavailable. And if that happens, we could maybe see a very early breakout from Egbuka if he's ready and if he's where he needs to be and running the routes properly, which all indications seem like he's probably going to be able to do because all we've heard is how good he is, how his intellect and his IQ is off the charts for a player of his experience level. And that's where I think that maybe if you have Egbuka, like that could be a time when his value goes crazy high because Chris Godwin's not available and because he can stack maybe a couple good games very, very early in the season. But I think to your point, when Chris Godwin comes back, he'll probably kind of fall into more of a complementary role than a feature role. But I'd be curious if maybe there could be a feature role for him early if Chris Godwin's unavailable.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. Godwin is going off the board as wide receiver 46. Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver 40 right now. Rich, and then Jalen McMillan way down the priority list after those guys. But he's on the field. Jalen Coker, man, wide receiver 67 for Jalen Coker, way down the list as well. Okay, any other preseason takeaways? Any would you rathers do you want to do? I kind of was looking at Travis Hunter, but he's kind of down in that range. We did one.
You think he's kind of fallen a little bit? Like the hype it's not quite what we hoped out of week 1, right? Like,
I don't know. He's wide receiver 31 right now. I don't know if you would take him over any of the receivers ahead of him. Like if I asked you right now, would you rather Travis Hunter for 2025? Everything, context, everything that we have. Hunter playing both sides, potential suspensions, changes of offense. Would you rather Travis Hunter or Rashee Rice?
I'd probably rather have Rashee Rice.
Travis Hunter or Courtland Sutton?
I would probably definitely take Sutton.
Yeah, you're not moving him up. Travis Hunter or Devontae Smith?
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, I guess I'm probably taking Smitty still.
Yeah, so you're not going to...
But Smitty's just one of those players that you kind of know he's only going to do so much in the offense.
You're not really going to move him
Who's
up.
below him?
Who's below Travis Hunter? Yeah. Immediately below him, I'll give you the 5 names. Zay Flowers, Rome Odunze, Chris Olave, Ricky Pearsall.
Odunze I would take over him, right?
And Deebo Samuel.
Would you take Deebo over him?
Probably.
I think in certain builds and kind of like what you project, like
I think they're in the same cluster.
Pretty reasonable. I think it's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I would take Rome
But
Odunze over
Pearsall's
him.
kind of tough. Odunze for sure.
I would take Odunze over him. Flowers or Hunter?
Where are you at on Flowers?
A lot of people.
I feel like
this
I
week,
feel like
everybody's
they could
talking about
be-
is Bateman. Everybody's back in on Bateman, that he's the best receiver in Baltimore.
I feel like Flowers can be 1,000-yard receiver with like 6 touchdowns. And maybe that's Hunter's ceiling, so I probably should take Flowers over Hunter. But like there's that, 5%
Olave
chance
or Hunter?
that Hunter.
Olave or Hunter?
I mean, Olave is probably the answer, but you just don't know if he's going to be healthy.
I'm not even worried about his health. Like, do you trust that offense? Do you trust Rattler, Hayner, and Tyler?
Well,
that New Orleans offense could be real stank, man. That New Orleans could be real stank.
But at the same time, like, when's this team going to be leading in games? They should be throwing the ball 40 times a game.
True.
And even if it's, only 5 or 6 receptions on like 12 targets, again, can Olave sustain that for a whole season, not get hurt? That's the biggest question. But I think if Olave was healthy, even on a bad team, it's kind of the same thing with like Jerry Jeudy. Would you take Jerry Jeudy or Travis Hunter?
Jerry Jeudy for this year.
Right? And I think it's kind of the same thing. I think Olave and Jeudy are pretty comparable assets they play on terrible teams. It's just, you don't know what you're going to get with Olave because the health has been a concern for him.
Jerry Jeudy, he's lower than Stephon Diggs, Juwan Jennings, Deebo Samuel. He's lower than all those guys. Man, he's right one spot ahead. What happened to the people don't like Jeudy this year?
It's the same thing, right? He just plays on a really bad team. And you don't
know
what
but
to
at least
expect
he's the
from week
one.
to week, but
at least I know he's getting it all, and there's nobody else besides
And he's
Njoku.
even more the one than Olave is. Because Shaheed still gets his fair share of targets as well.
And Kamara's probably going to get 10 targets a game out of the backfield.
Absolutely.
Probably getting 10 damn targets a game out of the backfield. All right, man. What's up, Dynasty Daddy? Dynasty Daddy in the house, man. Good show today. Jay Rich, we have a couple of super chats, and I do want to acknowledge Adam Zaff, man. Adam is here every single week. He dropped a super chat on Friday, and I forgot what it said, but Adam, appreciate you, man. I saw the super chat on Friday. We signed off the show before I can get to it, but I appreciate the support, appreciate the love, my G. I just wanted to acknowledge you and say thank you for that one. Stanley's got one in here right now. Oh, yeah, Jay Rich. $5 super chat. I'm ready for the excuse Jay Rich makes for the Patriots because they are worse than Cowboys fans coming out of the 90s.
Okay, but Stanley, what is it that I have said about the Patriots that would give you that indication? I've been the one that's been saying, look, I'm excited. I think week 1 was a very good showing from the team. Now, they played a lot of starters in that game. But even still, like, I'm excited for what they could be, but that doesn't mean I agree with their win total. I think they're going to be like a 9 or 10 win team or a playoff team. I think they're probably going to get 7 or 8 wins and be below that total. It's the media, frankly, that's kind of steaming up the Patriots, and I wouldn't say I'm quite there with them right now.
Your biggest takeaway coming out of week 1 of the preseason, just wholesale. It could be a situation. It could be a player. It could be positive. It could be negative. What's one thing that you saw? And it's not like your full season long take, but something that is on your radar, positive or negative, going into week 2 that you want to see some more. I'll start out. For me, the big takeaway, or at least one of my big takeaways coming out of this one, is what do you do with Green Bay? I mean, Jordan Love is ranked in this spot where he matters. He's got this value. I don't know if it's real or fake. Is it golden? Reed is hurt. Dobbs. It just Tucker Kraft. If I want to know what this offense is going to look like. I'm reading Green Bay beat reporters and saying the O-line isn't good. Love throwing off his back foot. Receivers can't catch. It's just looking like, do you just want damn Josh Jacobs and you're just praying Matthew Golden gets it done for you, or if you draft Jaden Reed, he gives you a couple of spike weeks. It's just, that's an offensive situation that I just want to see continue and progress in week 2. I think that's one of the things. I don't know why that Green Bay offense just was so, I just want to see it again. I want to know if there are some underlying gems
you want to see if they're 2023 or they're 2024, because those are two very different results.
Different teams, man. So I want to see some more Green Bay. What about you?
So I think on the field for me, the biggest takeaway is probably Bryce Young. I just think that for everything that he isn't and his limitations as a player to some extent, like I do think he's really ready to either be the guy or just kind of be Bryce Young and operate in that offense. But off the field, from what we didn't see, it's Kaleb Williams. Like, for anyone who didn't see it, he didn't play, obviously. But the reason why he didn't play, and I kind of get it, is all reports was he lit up the Dolphins defense on Friday scrimmages. Like, apparently he was throwing touchdowns left and right, and the defense couldn't stop him. And it was just, he made a lot of really big plays on Friday, and so we got held out over the weekend. But I just want to see him on the field and see what he looks like and how this offense operates with Rome Odunze, with DJ Moore. And
okay.
Should we be taking DJ Moore as the one, or should we be taking Rome Odunze, and kind of how that's all going to work? But I think the answer still is Chicago, because there's so many players we are expecting something from, and we just didn't get to have any indication as to kind of how it's going to go. It's kind of the same in Atlanta, just I don't expect it in Atlanta because they're not going to play anybody. Like, I just don't think they're going to do that. But I think Atlanta and Chicago are the two situations we saw nothing from, that I kind of want to see how it plays out. But in Chicago, I think it's a lot more clouded how it's all going to go down.
Jay Rich, we're going to get out of here on this one, man. Hit the music. Hit the music. Blast from the past. Any hope for Trey Lance? Trey Lance in LAC, bad offensive line. Herbert was hurt last year. They're pumping him up, saying this is what he needed. They needed a coach and an offense that believed in him. I'll tell you right now, as a Cowboys fan, give me that Trey Lance over Joe Milton. Give me that Trey Lance over Joe Milton.
You don't like that Bazooka Joe, right?
I was fooled me once in 2018. Shame on me. Fooled me twice in 2019, 2020. I'm out on Joe Milton. Give me that Trey Lance, Jay. Any hope that if something happens to Herbert, he could score you some points down the stretch?
I don't think so, my friend. I don't think so.
Yeah, we'll see.
He looked good in the Hall of Fame game, but not so good against the Saints.
He ran around.
That's what Trey Lance does.
Richie's like, let's not do it. No more Trey Lance hopium. All right, we appreciate y'all pulling up. We're on Bleacher Report. Make sure you follow us on the Bleacher Report app, @RayGQ, @your boy Jay Rich. Subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up button, like the content. Check out everything over on DDFFB, and wake y'all asses up Wednesday morning, 8 a.m. Central Time over here for Wake Up. Jay, it was a good one. Enjoy, and we'll see y'all soon, man. We out. Peace.